When hay fever pollen invades your sinuses, brings runny nose, watery eyes, take Dristan. Dristan's like sending your sinuses to Arizona. Yes, Dristan's like sending your sinuses to Arizona. That is, Dristan helps you breathe free and easy, as if you were far away from pollen or allergy irritation. Yes, Dristan's like sending your sinuses to Arizona. Helps dry, runny nose, itchy, watery eyes. You see, Dristan tablets shrink swollen, congested nasal and sinus passages which cause runny nose and watery eyes. So you breathe free and easy fast. So when pollen invades your sinuses, causing hay fever miseries, don't wish you could be in sunny, dry Arizona. Just remember, Dristan's like sending your sinuses to Arizona. Get Dristan decongestant tablets.
Many people think it's quite worthwhile to go just a little bit out of their way to get certified lead-free Amoco gasoline. You expect more from American, and you get it. The American Oil Company.
Oh, Peggy, look at your bridesmaid's hair. And if I shampoo with this, it'll wash the body out.
Silly, don't wash out body. Cream in body with Luster Cream shampoo.
Really?
Luster Cream's in body. It's got more body-building ingredients than any leading shampoo.
Creamy lather. Dreamy body.
Looks like you're next.
Luster Cream, you've done it again.
Oh, I can't go out tonight with your father with this hair. And my shampoo washes the body out.
Don't wash out body, Mom. Cream in body with Luster Cream shampoo.
Really?
Luster Cream's in body. It has more body-building ingredients than any leading shampoo.
Creamy lather. Beautiful body.
New hairdresser, dear.
No, new Luster Cream shampoo. And a very wise daughter.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code. The code of the National Association of Broadcasters for television and the greater public interest.
All right, gang, welcome back. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get back into this debate. We're just trying to work our way through this, reviewing it, sharing my thoughts. I do have that magazine article from the Penn State thing. I read it once on stream a while back. So maybe it's been a couple months now. So let me know if you guys want to do that at some point. And then also, I've been wanting to digitize it, so I just need to get around to it. But all right, appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and get back into this Ken Hovind thing. those of you who don't know why we're doing this, it's just I haven't seen it. This is literally the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I wasn't watching it, and I didn't watch it afterwards, so I wanted to sleep on it, and then kind of take a look at it tonight. So we'll do this, and then we'll get out of here.
5 meanings of the word evolution are purely religious. Nobody's ever seen matter form. Nobody's ever seen chemicals change.
I'm also trying to peep the chat.
Incredible input of energy, and then you can't fuse past iron. Nobody's ever seen a star form. Nobody's ever seen...
I literally wasn't worried about Kent saying any of this because of none of this having anything to do with me at all. So I'm literally just granting Kent this time. Like, I'm not, I might have been looking at you guys. I might have been paying attention to the chat, our chat. Or whatever I was doing at the time, but I'm not really listening to any of this because I've heard it all before, and it doesn't really have anything to do with anything. So I don't know. I think everybody gets too up in arms about this. I think these people are so off with their stuff. They're so far gone. I don't think it's worth it.
The human, the bird, the dinosaur, the ladybug.
Or I don't want to say not worth it, but not worth it for what I was trying to do last night.
A ladybug produce a non-ladybug, or a human produce a non-human.
Never, Kent. They're all ladybugs.
Humans are having
moving
babies
along
all the time. Has anyone ever observed a human produce a non-human baby? Has anyone ever observed a bird produce a non-bird? It just isn't science. I wish you guys could see it. You make these family trees and draw lines on paper connecting them. Like that's part of science. It's not part of science. It's a religion. This one says you're a primate connected to chimpanzees and gorillas and monkeys. Well, you can believe that if you want, but that's not observable science. Nobody's ever seen this happen. They make these family portraits and put it in the textbooks, and the kids have to learn this. It is evolution that is a religion being pushed on the taxpayers.
It is the power of the flying man.
And that's what ought to be stopped. No, evolution is not part of science. There are no explanations. No. You mentioned in your opening, Jay, about testable explanations. Okay, show me a way to test. Your charts show here we have the bird, the mouse, then the fern related to a common ancestor. How could we test that? How many times have they seen mice in the laboratory produce babies? Lots. Have they ever produced a non-mouse? No. I'm telling you, it isn't science. I wish you could see it. They draw lines on paper, connecting everything like, oh, look, it's all connected. Drawing lines on paper, connecting all the various life forms that have never been observed, is not evidence for evolution. You say, we've got a chart. Okay, I could draw all kinds of charts. I could connect a hamster to a Volkswagen. So I could draw a line between them. Doesn't prove they're related. Come on. Listing words or branches of science is not evidence for evolution. Where is the evidence of anything changing? Wade said, Dr. Dino likes to say the dog, wolf, banana are not related. But if we look at our tree of life, they're separated by 2.9 billion cousins. It's a very, very long time ago. Wade, that demonstrates clearly you don't observe it. It's not part of science. I don't think we should teach either science, either evolution or creation in public school. Probably we shouldn't even have public schools. Bigger question yet. But if we're going to have them, teach the kids what we know.
Now, obviously, I could get so triggered by, I don't even know if we should have public schools, but you just decide you're not going to, right?
Okay, boys and girls, here's the radius, the ulna, the humerus, the biceps, the triceps, the femur. We know that. We've given it a name. We don't know that it came from an ape. But you guys draw lines on paper connecting dinosaurs and birds as if this is somehow now science. So my objection is, before we go very far, I would like Dr. J to explain exactly what do you mean by that word, evolution. Do you mean all 1,000 varieties of bananas have a common ancestor? I would agree. Do you mean bananas and whales have a common ancestor? I disagree.
Somebody in Donnie's chat said, see, Chaser, I told you he doesn't push for creation in school. What an idiot.
We better clearly define the term, because you guys connect animals, plants, and fungi with little lines and claim that's part of science. Look, all the varieties of outside that circle, variations happen within the horse family, within the bat family, within the hamster family. Inside that circle is religion. But this textbook says all the many forms of life on Earth today are descended from a common ancestor. That's propaganda. That's not science. We don't know that. You can say that over and over again, and you can start believing it yourself even. You could convince yourself, but it's not science. And they say It was found in a population of primitive unicellular organisms. Do you believe a whale came from an amoeba, a single-celled organism? No traces of those events remain. They draw lines on paper connecting, let's see, the human, the bird, the crocodile, and all back to a common ancestor. This is pure religion. This isn't science. Drawing lines on paper doesn't make it true. Nobody's ever seen an amphibian produce a non-amphibian. But they connect, let's see, the turtle, the snake, and the bird, and the mammals. Go back to a common ancestor. This is absolute propaganda. I resent it. Here we go. A protozoa turned to a biology teacher. Dr. J, do you believe your ancestor was a protozoa? This chart shows that. Single-cell creature turned to everything. They draw lines on paper connecting all of them. Yes, boys and girls, the shark and the fern and the starfish and the octopus have a common ancestor, a unicellular creature. This is absolute propaganda. It is not science. Evolution is on trial. I think the first 5 meanings of the word evolution is what we need to try. But you're going to try to hide evolution as meaning variation, microevolution. No. That shouldn't be called microevolution. It should just be called a variation. 20 times in the first 7 chapters of the Bible, God said they would bring forth after their kind. That's all anybody has ever seen in recorded history. Every farmer on the planet counts.
Now, a lot of y'all telling me I didn't really do science here, but for those of you that hopefully now are paying attention a little bit more, maybe you slept on it, maybe you got a chance to catch my opening and you didn't yesterday. Hopefully you now see how I've already anticipated all this. Right? I already knew he was going. But Cameron, you feel me? I already knew he was going to go here, right? And so I already took it to Kent. What you're talking about isn't science. So he's done. Now, he can sit here and say evolution isn't science, but everybody knows that's not true. He can say evolution is a religion. Everybody knows that isn't true. I also hit him with, Kent, your shit has been deemed unconstitutional to teach in schools because the federal courts have decided that it violates the separation of church and state. Now, if you're keeping score at home, number one, I asked Kent for a scientific alternative. He hasn't presented one. He hasn't even really gone about saying anything about the Bible being taught as science because I've already dealt with that. He's trying to do his whole dance to just be, I'm just saying evolution shouldn't be taught in public schools. All right, whatever, right? And then I said, what is the evidence we have for the alternative? Hasn't given us anything there. And then if he really was right, obviously, then the courts would have deemed it a violation of the separation of church and state to teach evolution in a classroom, right? If Kent is right that evolution is a religion, then when this went to trial, not on YouTube, not even in the scientific literature, but in the federal courts of the United States of America, they already decided that, in fact, our side is science, that our side's not religion, but that it is, in fact, Kent's side that is religion, and that it is, in fact, Kent's argument that can't be taught in a classroom because it is, in fact, a violation of the First Amendment, which is why it isn't taught in classrooms in public schools, because it's against the federal law to do so. And he wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So we already won. And all Ken Hovind did was use his time to go through his usual script that everybody already knows, and everybody knows it's sitting on some bullshit, and all I did was sit back, watch him self-destruct, and enjoy it right along with him. Why not? Kent, you want to prove that you don't know anything at all? Sure, I'd be happy to help you.
On evolution not happening above the micro level.
Can't nobody trust me, y'all. Why would anybody trust me? Only niggas in my pulpit should trust me.
The evolution that they teach. That because we see cows produce varieties of cows.
You ain't helping me get this money. I ain't got no loyalties to you.
That is insanity. That is not science. It's propaganda. Thank you. Your turn.
All right, Dr. Hovind, thank you so much for that opening statement. That concludes the opening statements from both Kent and Jay. Gentlemen, lots of good points to discuss. So now we're going to just get right into a more free-flowing discussion, keeping it as equally timed as possible. And, of course, civil and sophisticated, the way I like my debate. So, Jay, let's hand it over to you. And yeah, since Kent just ended with his opening statement, we'll allow you to pick the first topic, ask the first question, however you want to proceed. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. Oh, Jay, I think you might be on mute from your end.
Oh, yeah. Kent hasn't pointed out some of the bigger problems with these things. You know, I actually agree with him that I don't want to talk about any of those things. I don't know about those things. And he says that these things, yeah, can I get the list? Yeah. Oh, thanks, Ken. Appreciate you putting that up for me. Yeah, like that cosmic evolution, definitely not my area of expertise. Chemical evolution, don't know nothing about that. Stellar and planetary evolution, nah. Origin of life, yeah, barely touching that with some of our research theories that I do, but ain't really my specialty. Macroevolution, that ain't really my thing either. Microevolution, like kinda, but mostly virtually. But here's the bigger problem. I really wish these things were not science, because Kent, are you a minister?
I am a Baptist preacher, ordained Baptist preacher.
All right, it's time for some confession. Good, I got to confess some stuff to you, man. I wish those subjects were not science, because as a scientist, I work with people who work on their subjects, and they won't shut up about it. And I really wish they would, because Kent, what the people at home need to understand is that science is boring. And I'm sorry, I'm just confessing it. Science is boring. And it's boring mostly because scientists are boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and concede that maybe you won the whole debate because I cheated, and this is my first real debate, so I don't know what the rules are, but we could concede. My response is making his chat's heads explode. Check this out. Look, people just don't know what to do with themselves. They just don't know what to do with themselves. It's pretty amazing. All of that. I don't have answers for none of that. None of it. So Kent, it's Kent's turn. Kent, we could talk about whatever Kent wants. I'm just having fun with Donnie and Kent, my two new buddies. We're gonna make a little atheist Christian buddy comedy movie series before this is done. That's the real goal of tonight.
Okay. Well, Jay, do you agree? Nobody in world history has ever seen. Let's take one animal, a cow. There are now 400 breeds of cows that are recognized. Has anybody ever observed a cow produce a non-cow or come from a non-cow?
Listen up, scientists. I'm switching teams.
I don't understand. What do you think?
We have never seen a cow.
I can't understand what he said.
We have never seen. I said we're switching. Kent, I'm switching teams. We have never seen a cow come from a non-cow. Kent Hovind and I are laying down the gauntlet, scientists. We don't want to hear no more of these boring lectures, no more textbooks. Get back to us when you guys get in that lab and we see a non-cow come from a. I like Kent Hovind. I was wrong about this guy. Donnie, I see why you hang out with this dude. Kent, what else you got for us? I like this. What else you got? You won that one.
Okay. Do you agree that the students
it's over. Schools... He did it. Yo, he can't drop me with he hit me with the leg drop. I was just out. I was out. He hit me with the leg drop. It was over. It was over. He leg dropped me. I couldn't hang with him. I was wrong about Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind's fun. Y'all hear Kent Hovind's crew, man? That was fun.
Have to learn from charts like I'm showing here now that would show the cow coming from an amoeba.
People are like, people are losing their minds.
Do you agree that this chart would teach the kids the cow is related to a ladybug?
Kent, they teach that all of these different species share common ancestry, and therefore the claim is that they're related. And I'll give you another thing. They're learning this nonsense from undertrained, overworked, underpaid teachers. So you're right. You're right about the whole public school system. Maybe we just. I'm a heel scientist. I mean, scientists don't even really know if I'm on their side or not. So I'm kind of with you, like, okay. Improve it or lose it. Improve it. Yo, that's how I'm going. Yo, that's my message to the public school system. Look, public school system, you ain't working. America is full of morons sitting on some bullshit. I'm with Kent Hovind. So far, we seem to be wasting a lot of money on public education. Improve it or lose it. You know, I was thinking about it. I slept on it. And I agree with wholeheartedly with what I said the first time. Improve it or lose it. I've slept on it. I thought about it. And I have not changed my mind at all. The public school system should be evolving. I don't see much evolving. Yeah, the public school system needs to evolve. Evolving. See, the public school system is really not helping, are they? People are trying to look, I'm confused.
Teaching public school. My only living brother retired from teaching public school. I'm not against school teachers. I taught in private school 15 years. I love teaching. But this chart is not representing science. Science is what we can observe, study, test, demonstrate. Science tells us cows produce cows. It is not science that makes us draw a line to a ladybug, between a cow and a ladybug.
So let me ask you this, Kent.
Evolution isn't science.
How do you think they determine like how to draw the lines?
I think they want it to be true.
See, exactly. And that's the question. And guys, that's an educator mic drop, right? Because all you're saying to anybody who's halfway smart in the audience is, kids, look up how they draw the lines. Right? And what they're going to find is overwhelming evidence that supports each fucking line. They will not find a single line up on an actual scientifically produced fucking phylogeny. At least not something made contemporarily. That's literally not fucking chock full of evidence to support how they did it. So I don't really need to debate all the fucking bullshit with Kent. All I need to do is just be like, here's the question, y'all. How do they draw the lines? You know, that's what you do as an educator, right? Y'all, look, I'm going to tell you something as an educator. And a lot of y'all was schooled by some teachers who didn't know what they was doing. And I don't mean that they didn't like you or that they were dumb. It's just that they weren't as well trained as I am. I hate to say it. And it ain't their fault. They just weren't trained when I was trained. I was trained, now. And when you train now, we've learned a lot about what works in education and what doesn't. And so them teachers that lectured you and then lectured you and then lectured you and then expected you to regurgitate the lecture or memorize shit, yeah, we call that doing your homework for you. I'm your teacher. I might be playing around, I might be having fun with you, but I'm a motherfucking college professor. I'm not going to do your homework for you. I'm going to just challenge you to the student, as a student. If you really want to know this, you really want to get into this, figure out how they draw the lines. When you can come back to me and you can explain to me accurately how they drew them damn lines, and then you want to say some shit like Kent, then we'll talk. Until you can tell me, and notice how I asked Kent how they draw the lines. Did he ever at any time even attempt at an explanation of how they drew the lines? No. He just went on with his normal rant, and they do it, and they want it. Kent, we already established. I already admitted, Kent, yes. When they draw the lines, they are suggesting that there's evidence that those things are related through common ancestry. We've already established that. Now, the challenge is, not to Kent, but to everybody watching, how do they draw the lines? Kent didn't answer it. Bet you most of the motherfuckers waxing like they know something and the audience can't answer it. Until they can answer it, they ain't really even worth our time. But for those of y'all that are going to sit around and act like I didn't address something scientifically, like I didn't try to school these motherfuckers, maybe I just did it in my own very simple, very precise way that didn't require a whole bunch of bloviated, but rather I was prepared for this, and I knew when Kent Hovind pulled this shit, I would have one very simple yet powerful response that said all I needed to say in a simple yet powerful single sentence. How do they draw the lines? If you don't understand the science education behind that, then sounds like a personal problem.
And so but it's not based on observation. That's my whole point.
Boom. It is based on observation. That's our whole point. Game, set, match.
All the textbooks, I have hundreds.
But again, I'm not going to argue with them.
Earth science, physical science, from many universities from all.
Y'all, I host a radio show. I host a podcast damn near 8 hours a day, every day. Imagine me getting into a fucking argument with somebody I don't agree with about some shit I don't care about over some bullshit they don't know. I'm chilling, having myself a good time. Watching the clock go by, getting ready to say goodnight.
Different countries all over the world. They all do this stuff. They say, boys and girls, the protozoa, or a single-celled creature of some kind, be it an amoeba, E. coli, or something, bacteria, turned into everything. My whole point is...
why do they use those Latin words? I don't like those Latin words.
Yeah, I don't like the Latin words.
I don't know what that means. What's a protozoa? What is it? Yeah, right? And again, this is nothing, guys. I'm giving away nothing. Why do they use Latin words? Yeah, why don't they just call this group the single-cell organisms, call these turtles and their allies? Why don't they just call the primates monkey-like organisms? Why not just call the fucking birds, right? Again, guys, we're just riding along. It's nothing. Now he wants to talk about, right? So now I'm throwing a monkey wrench at Kent, right? I'm getting Kent off his script, right? He's not prepared to think about Latin. He don't want to talk about Latin. He probably don't know no goddamn Latin, right? So he's probably just shaking in his boots, hoping I don't want to talk about Latin words or ask him to define a whole bunch of them. But I don't. I'm just fucking around with him. I'm just toying with the mouse. Sponge or like I don't. Some of them things they don't even know. Like, is this thing an animal? Is it an animal yet? Is it not an animal?
Yes.
Yet?
Now I'm trolling him.
Kent, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just do science because they pay me to. I'm just being 100%. I'm just keep real with you. This is what I got trained now. It's kind of like a what they call it, a sunk cost fallacy. Like I spent.
AR did have great comments.
This is trash, but might as well get a job. And so they really do. I'm gonna just say. There's more questions that they haven't answered than questions that they've answered. I'm going to just leave it like that, Kent. I'm just keeping it real with you because I like you.
All right. Well, has anybody ever seen a single-celled creature? I understand you worked with this.
Somebody said I'm going to get fired for admitting that.
Yeah, and they still E. coli. They've been doing this for 30 years and they're still E. coli. Well, there's this one thing.
Like, guys, the people in the E. coli lab would love some shit like that. They've been doing this for 30 years and they're still E. coli. Like, Kent, nobody thinks anything other than that, Kent. Only your dumbass would make a point like that. So, Kent, when other people throw Rich Lenski under the bus, it's time to fight. When I throw Rich Lenski under the bus, I could do that because I spent 10 years working for that man, and he's like a father figure to me. So, yeah, Rich Lenski, suck it, Rich Lenski. Yeah, Rich Lenski, you sitting on some bullshit, Rich Lenski. I don't care about all them papers and the millions of dollars you've wasted of government money. What a waste. Get back to us when they're not E. coli anymore. Oh, I was just toying with the mouse, y'all. Just toying with the mouse. That happened and they were like, oh, maybe this thing isn't E. coli. But I don't really care about all that. I still say it's still E. coli. It's still E. coli to me. They're like, oh, it does a little citrate thing. I'm like, I'm not really that impressed. Some of the other E. coli do citrate. Maybe it just regained, maybe it just micro-evolved to regain something that it was created with in the first place. And it just lost it in the lab and then it regained it. It really don't have to be that impressive. And you know what? I know the person who did that. Shout out to Zach, because Zach's one of my guys. But his stuff way over my head. When Zach start talking, I'll be like, Zach, get back to me when you talk about my stuff, because I don't want to sit here and talk about citrate.
Okay. Well,
And again, this is funny because, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Zach Blount, who does the citrate work, is just a genius, right? He's a genius, like serious genius. Like amongst really smart motherfuckers, Zach's like the genius in the room. And he's an amazing teacher, and he does Herculean research. Herculean research, right? Like, I don't know if y'all ever seen this picture. Let me show you this picture real quick. I'm gonna show y'all. Y'all probably seen this picture before. Right. So this picture, right? And Zach is known for these. He's made a bunch of these actually. They're called towers, right? And what that is this is all of, not all of his. What it is like, this is what he does is when he's doing research projects, he stores all the plates that he has to use over the course of some of his projects. And then he takes like a weekend or something when this isn't gonna bother anybody or whatever. And then he builds these towers. He gets help. Everybody comes in and helps him build these towers. And then he does these photo shoots. But this is showing you, right?
it's kind of a humble brag, right? It's a low key way of him saying, and again, he is the citrate guy. He's the guy who did the work to figure out a lot of citrate stuff, and that's why you see him and Rich together in this picture, right? This is them playing around, right? Rich is just bigging up one of his biggest grad students, who's now a postdoc in his lab, who's really helped him do some of his most important work, and Zach's pretending that he's going to take the steel pan to the tower, and Rich is trying to save the tower. And the other thing that this should show you guys about me and about the lab and about Rich is Rich wouldn't be bothered at all by this stuff, right? We've got the Mona Lisa picture here. Like, we have a lot of fun in lab, right? Rich is a fun guy. He likes to have a good time. He likes to, be the butt of jokes and fool around and take silly pictures. He wants science to be fun. He knows to inspire people to do the hard work of getting in the lab and figuring out these questions and going to grad school and taking the classes. You have got to make science fun, and you find what people are passionate about. You guide them along this road to taking their passion and turning it into a profession, and you use fun to do that. So imagine having your grad student who comes in, takes the most famous and important experiment in the history of your career, and then does all the side work to tease out all the details and figure out the gory details. You want to do everything you can to show everybody how big of a deal that is to you, how much you appreciate that. And of course, he does that with Zach. See you later, Melody. Also, you'll notice Zach's tie-dye lab coat, right? So I'm the crazy pro wrestling guy in my lab, but we all have our characteristics, right? So Zach has a tie-dye lab coat here. He's got another one here. When you guys see me do my digital evolution character, I'm thinking about going with the tie-dye lab coat. That idea comes from Zach, okay? This is Zach, he's got the tie-dye lab coat, nice guy. This is a different tower, right? He's made a bunch of these. And so, here's the book. My name is in this book, right? Zach is one of the people who did the most long-term evolution transfers. So in the long-term evolution experiment, I think it was 30 years, or I don't know. Oh, this is Zach's leaving. He was leaving. And so he's leaving the lab for now. He's taking a picture with the LTEE book. My name is in this book. Like at the 30-year anniversary, I think the 30-year anniversary, I did a long-term evolution experiment transfer. I only did one my whole career, right? I was a digital evolution guy. There were a ton of microbiology stars in the lab. They didn't really need me to work on the long-term evolution experiment. I did do one of the papers on it. I was an author on one of the papers, but that was like working on a side project, or like sidelines. I wasn't working on the main lines. But I did do one transfer. And again, it was just to prepare for the 30-year anniversary. We knew it would be really special to Rich if we could present him the log, the log of all the transfers. So every day when somebody transfers the long-term evolution experiment, they put some information in here, their initials, and they sign it, and the date, and the time, and all that stuff. And so this is the log that's been kept for over 30 years. Every day, it marks the transfers. And so what we did was we had all the grad students in the lab do at least one supervised transfer. That way all of us could sign the book, right? So then again, right, I'm part of the evolution experiment. I can say I actually did the long-term evolution experiment transfer. Not because I had to, not because they needed me to, but because Rich Lenski took me under his wing. Part of taking me under his wing was being part of his legacy. Part of being part of his legacy was our lab manager said, hey, Jay, you need to do one of the LTEE transfers just so that your name is included. When we give Rich this book, it would mean the world to him. So we did it. I took a picture, and the caption I put under that picture is one of the happiest days of my life, of course, right? I didn't need to do it, but it was super fun to just, hey, the long-term evolution experiment was officially my responsibility today. And I'm happy to say I didn't ruin it. They told me I didn't even contaminate it. They told me I did not contaminate the long-term evolution experiment the day I did the transfer. They probably gave me a fake batch and, kept the real one. And then I probably contaminated the fake batch, and they lied about that. But family sometimes does that, and I was happy to be a part of it. And of course, I used to do those transfers all the time, so they knew I knew what I was doing, and I could do it. And of course, I always told them if you ever needed me to do it, I was always available to do it. Fortunately, they never needed me. I always had a deep roster of people to do it. But, you know, that day I was very happy to step up. And you got to remember that's a big deal for me because, like I said, I'm not a microbiologist. It's not my area of expertise. So to be given the responsibilities of the longest running evolution experiment in the history of science and to not fuck it up and to have them trust me with it and to say, hey, man, I did learn how to do this. I did work in this lab. I do have these skills. Of course, I know how to do the long-term evolution experiment, and didn't take me too much longer than it takes anybody else. So it was a happy, happy day. Happy to share some of these joyous memories with you guys. But, yeah, it's really interesting because Zach Blount, I started this talking about Zach. Zach and Rich are my co-authors. Zach and I are working on some Avita Ed stuff together. So, of course, guys, I'm joking, I'm teasing, I'm making fun, but at the same time, I'm sort of calling out and shouting out one of my co-authors, one of my lab mates. And I'll tell you something about Zach. Zach's kind of not the most social person. I'll say that to keep it gentle. He doesn't come around for a lot of things unless he really needs to. But he is a genius. He's a really good guy. He's a really nice guy. Everybody knows that about him. He's a really honorable guy. You know, he'll stand up for people if he thinks someone's being bullied or something like that. He's an unbelievable teacher and science communicator, right? But he's also super brilliant. And he can sometimes go over all of our heads, not because he's some sort of awkward nerd, but because he's just brilliant. And he puts more into this stuff than any of us can even imagine. He has all of our respect. And so we expect him to know things the rest of us don't know. He does a great job of sharing it with us and explaining it to us. And I do my area of research, historical contingency, the stuff that my dissertation was really about, in an area where Zach kind of went before me. He did a lot of really, really important work related to the citrate evolution about those same questions. And then rather than, you know, scorn me or be mean to me or say, hey, Jay, you're kind of silly and you're a digital evolution guy, I don't want you around here, he really took me under his wing. And we had one of the most lengthy, thorough, back and forth email exchanges during a time when I was finishing up my dissertation, and I love Zach a lot. But we're all interesting characters, and so this is one that the guys in the lab will always, if they do see this or hear this, they'll all get a good kick out of me playfully taking a shot at Zach. And of course, everybody knows Zach's brilliance is, you know, undeniable. Plenty of scientific research papers and awards and all of that to testify to that. So we can have a little fun with this. Zach, he can handle it, even though he's a unique character. I love the unique characters in my life. He's a brilliant one, and I'm lucky to have him.
My objection is evolution.
Yeah, Zach, I don't want to talk about no stinking citrate. That's Zach's job. You should call Zach Blount. He's the citrate guy. I'm not. I'm the Avita guy.
Textbooks teach that a single-celled creature, like a protozoa or an amoeba, turned into a human. Nobody's ever seen any single-celled creature produce anything other than what anybody with a brain would say that's the same kind. E. coli, like you said, still produce E. coli. Now, Lewinsky did a lot of experiments trying to make a lot of changes, spent a whole lot of...
Lenski, not Lewinsky. Lewinsky's a different famous biologist, but I just let it go. Again, I could have... Guys, a lot of it is you're engendering goodwill. I could call him out on mispronouncing my advisor's name. I genuinely don't think he did it on purpose, and I don't want him on guard. I don't want to make him tense. You got to think about the long game. Long con. That didn't come out right. Whoops. No, seriously. The long game, right? Like, first off, when we start the show, I'm trying to be nice to him. And, you know, even though that's good, when we get into it, he's still nervous that I'm probably going to ambush him. And then I give a real good presentation. Now he's worried I'm probably going to hold his feet to a fire. So, again... Don't. right? And even now, if he makes a little slip or a little gaffe, of course I could attack it or point it out, but that would make him tense again. It'd make him defensive, right? I don't want him to be defensive. Hey, it's a debate. I broadcast a lot. We all have a verbal gaffe once in a while. It's actually more respectful not to call it out because then it interrupts the flow of things, and then you guys are going to be calling out every time somebody makes a minor verbal gaffe. So you just let it go. No worries. Rich Lenski's not going to send me a nasty email because somebody mispronounced his name and I didn't correct him. Like, again, you're dealing with people who are very, very, very secure about who they are and what they've accomplished in the world, and we all like to have a good time, and we all have our different ways. So, I know I'm not doing anything that anybody I work with would think anything other than that's just JB and J. and if you get all riled up about JB and J, then you just don't know Jay that well, and that's okay. They'll figure it out, and they appreciate that I give people something to pay attention to make them